Hi, my name is Amy Mazzi and I'm with Supreme Boats, and today I want to walk you through the all-new 2024 Supreme S240. This boat will help you surf, wake, and ride Supreme, but let's go check it out. The Supreme S240 is a 24-foot boat, but the tip of the sword, the front of this boat, is just as impressive as how big it is. This bow is a V-shaped bow, but wider. It's got accommodation on the inside, it's got style on the outside, it's got great places to step on and off from the bow. So whether you're beaching this boat or you're getting on and off at a dock, it's got nice flat entry points decorated with gator step that is also functional for non-slip feet placement. This boat really looks the part, it's functional, and you've got optional docking lights up here, about 2,000 lumens a piece, so they can illuminate that dock and that water in front of you when you need it. The front of this boat is just as cool, but let's go check out the rest. So as we move further back on the S240, you start to realize, as you can see here, just how tall this boat is. And we call that freeboard. And this height, it gives you a few things. It gives you comfort sitting down in the interior. It also gives you a lot of ballast capacity. This particular boat is available with 4,800 pounds of ballast, and they're in 6 different locations that are individually controlled. Fill this, drain that. You can have different levels in each of these ballast areas. But you've also got the ability to color this and make this look any way you want, and it's quite a large canvas, I must say. This particular scheme is called the Sharp scheme, and you have 31 different gel coat colors that you can choose for this area here, which we call the hull main front. You've also got 18 different colors you can choose for the hull base or the base of the boat, so you can make this S240 look any way you want, and you will stand out on the lake this summer. As we continue down the profile of the boat, you can really see the design, the color choices. This is military green, and I love this color choice. It's a beautiful combination, but you've also got some more customization you can add to this boat. You can choose between 3 different colors of the Supreme branded decal. So you got black, like you see here. You can do a chrome or a white. You also have the model designator back here, a lot of stylish elements. But the thing I really want to talk to you about is the hull of the boat. And not really the side like we're seeing here, but the running surface, the part of the boat that is in the water when you're underway, either towing a rider or just going down the lake. What's very different about a Supreme S240 is the hull design specifically. It's called an Easy V hull. Why? Because it's easy. It's like hitting the easy button when you're talking about getting a surf wave or getting a symmetrical wakeboard wake. It's easy. And I'll tell you, we built it to be that way. We built it to be very good for a smooth water ride, but also to displace as much water as possible. And so what you've got is you've got 2 triangular pads at the rear corners of the boat. What those do is create lift, and they lift up that hull. And you would think, well, why? Then how can it create a wake from that? What it does is it makes the entire running surface level in the water. So it takes your back of the boat up, nose of the boat down. It allows you to cut through that chop if you're just trying to get across the lake on a really windy day, or it allows the entire boat to displace water when you fill it up with that 4,800 pounds of available ballast. It's so much ballast. So when you fill that entire boat up, when this hull is underway, it levels it out and gets it all down into the water. What does that make for you? A really long wave behind this boat. A very symmetrical wakeboard wake because the entire boat is balanced and displacing water. That's what the Easy V gives you. It gives you a great ride, it gives you a great surf wave, and a great wakeboard wake easily. Now that we've displaced the boat by loading in all that ballast and we've learned about the running surface, now we're ready to make a surf wave. And how do we do that? We do that with QuickSurf. And that's what you see on the back corners of the boat. These trim tabs or plates that we call them, they actually work to make the wave, not from the displaced water, but to switch it from side to side and create the curl. The reason they do that is because the plates go down opposite the surf side. So when this plate goes down, if I'm surfing on the regular side, which is the passenger side, this plate will go down and it will create lift, which gently lifts this corner of the boat. Then it will dig or displace the surf side corner of the boat, creating a curl with that mass of water that we've displaced with our ballast and our running surface shape. And when I want to switch that wave to the other side and make it a goofy wave, all I have to do is hit a button at the dash. It switches in 2 seconds so you can transfer. It's that simple and easy and effective. You got to try it. So one of the other things you'll notice on the back of this S240 is the wake plate. This one might look a little bit different to you. This is called the Silent Stinger wake plate, and it is an option on a Supreme boat. What it does is not just the job of a trim tab, which is what a typical wake plate would do, and change the running attitude of the boat. It actually dampens the noise of the engine. Yes, mind blown, I know. But how it does that is the exhaust from the engine comes through the plate. There's water forced into the bottom. They tumble together through a series of baffles that are built into this plate and dampen the noise. I mean, so much so that I've been in certain boats, and a 24-foot boat, it would be included in this, that I can't even hear the engine on when we're idling. And I'm like, we're moving. Are we sure the engine's still on? Go back to the back of the boat. Yep, it's still on. But it takes a little bit. At the driver's seat, on the passenger seat, you can't hear anything. It's super quiet. And that makes for a really relaxing day on the water. You're not constantly yelling to be heard in the boat. You have inside voice quietness on the inside of this boat. All right, so we've reached to this point in our walkthrough, again, where I am on the swim step. Notice I didn't let them film me getting onto the swim step because it's never graceful. However, in the water, it is much easier. And that is because the swim step is designed with a little bit of a roll off towards the back. And that allows that gentle incline so you can get up onto the boat easily, or you can get the optional ladder. But once you're up here, you start to realize just how cool this boat is. This particular S240 especially, because it has the salute to service gator step scheme and package on it. It has black on the top, and I believe that's toffee on the bottom. And so you've got this cool military theme, flags and stars and stripes all through the interior, as well as our Supreme Salute to Service logos. It's super cool to look at. We'll see more of it on the interior. But also the shape of the swim step is designed to go with the shape of the boat itself. In this case, it matches the base color, which is military green, which I think is a must as far as those two colors that are, we call it adjacent to each other, that they match. But to me, this is one of those, I don't know, steps in a design process and a boat building process that oftentimes is overlooked. But to me, this is something that anyone can see, whether the boat is being pulled on a trailer, it's at the lake, it's at the dock. You can always see this area of the boat, and to me, it needs to look like it belongs on a Supreme boat, and this does. You've also got a bunch going on back here as far as storage, comfortable seating. In fact, I'm going to put my shoes away. One of my favorite parts, because they never have to make it onto the interior of my boat. There's never a chance of that. So I'm taking them off now, and they're going to stay off for the rest of the day. Well, not really, not here. You've also got a really fun place to sit, super comfortable. You can have some friends back here. Now let's take a look at the rest of the boat. All right, so as I step down into this S240, you see how deep this boat is and how far down I have to step to get into it, but it's really comfortable. The backs are ergonomically angled and they come up to just the right spot. It makes you feel like it's an even bigger boat than a 24-foot boat when you step down into this S240. I mean, it accommodates 16 people, and you can start to envision that this would have no problem with 16 people and 16 people's stuff. So the interior of the Supreme S240 is extremely accommodating. 16 people, super comfortable seats, but what else does it give you? It gives you longevity, it gives you resiliency, and it does that with the type of materials we use to create the seats, which are all created at the factory. So you have this material that we use, this vinyl, and is made by Spradling. It has a 17 mil top coat, which may not mean much to anybody, but it's really protected. And that's what that top coat gives you, is protection and ease of maintenance. You can wipe things right off of this upholstery. It's sewn together with Gore Tenera thread. Yep, It's made by Gore-Tex, so it's also extremely resilient, extremely strong. So much so that our warranty claims on seats are like next to nothing. That's because these materials, they cost a bit more, but they last a lot longer, and it's worth it to us. They also look really cool. So it's got a texture on this. We call it OTB, and outside the box, it kind of looks like an open box if you look at the texture of it, but it serves a purpose. Not only is it really cool looking, but it also stays cooler. It has more surface area, so heat dissipates faster, even on darker colors. Now, it's not going to be ice cold when you go to sit on it on a 100-degree day, but it's going to be noticeably cooler than a similar color vinyl with no texture on it at all. And that's really important to understand that not only is it beautiful, it's functional and it's strong. So we talked about this boat, the S240 by Supreme, having enough room for 16 passengers. That is absolutely true. But then your next question is probably, but what about all of those people's things? What about their backpacks and their towels and their beach bags and whatever else they're bringing along? We got room for that too. So there is storage underneath every one of these seats in the lounge. You also have storage next to the engine, and on top of the engine as well. You have storage behind the observer seat. So you've got storage for days in this boat, and it's out of sight, out of mind. It's great, I know, for all the moms watching, is everything can be put away. You're not tripping over everybody's stuff, yet it's still easily accessible in the hinge storage in this particular Supreme. From there, you've also got a lot of storage for drinks. And what I mean by drinks is the one you're drinking. And you can even have a couple in this boat. So you've got 4 cup holders on this side of the lounge, 4 on the other. You've got a couple up here for the observer seat, a couple for the driver, a few in the bow. Everybody can have a drink. And in some cases, when you go out with a certain number of people, you can each have 2. You've also got a side panel that's labeled with the model designation for the boat, which in this case is an S240. And that is also a home for your sound system, for your interior speakers. In this case, there's an upgraded Hero sound system in this particular boat by Wet Sounds. And these 8-inch interior speakers are a part of that upgraded package, but they're positioned perfectly to fill this lounge with immense sound. So another really cool option available in the Supreme S240 is a 3-position slide seat. And it does just what I demonstrated. It slides into 3 different locations in this boat. And it also has optional lean backs. And what these allow you to do is either face forward or face backwards. You can also get an optional table that will plug into these same 4 receptacles. So then you could slide the table with this seat throughout the interior. It gives you the versatility to decide how you want to use this boat on any given day on the water. We talked earlier about the customizable elements available as options on the Supreme S240. This is one of my favorites. I know I say that about almost everything, but really this is one of my favorites. We are very much involved in Salute to Service, a program that allows us to honor men and women who are first responders and military, either currently serving or veterans, and their families. And our Salute to Service efforts span, I won't go into it, but a number of events and a number of service charities that they benefit. But one of the things that we always want to do is bring that evidence of honoring those individuals into the design of our boats. And this is where the Salute to Service Gator Step floor scheme comes in. This particular scheme is a collection of stars and stripes and flags, as well as our Salute to Service logo, but it is available in a 2-layer scheme. What that means is you have the choice among 15 different colors on each layer. This particular design is toffee on the bottom layer and black on the top. It looks really good. I love how it goes with this interior in general, but it's just another custom element that you can add to your Supreme boat, and it really puts that respect, that honor front and center in the design of your boat. The optional tower on the Supreme S240 is the F Series by Roswell. This tower looks as if it was made to go with this boat, because honestly it was. When you look at the boat with the side profile view like we did earlier, you start to see the windshield, we call it the sport shield, start to complement and reverse the angle of the F Series tower. It all looks right, like it was meant to go together, because it was. But aside from that, I can customize this tower. I can customize these tower shields, as you can see, to match a color of the boat. I can have no tower shields at all if I'd like to just see through the tower for visibility. This tower is also very strong. So this tower is based on a cam latch design that is patented by Roswell. Essentially what it is it allows you to lock the tower, the hoop of the tower, down onto its base and make it very, very structurally sound. This allows you to go down the road and not see this swaying side to side. You're not out on a rough day on the water and listen to it rattle for hours on end. It's an extremely sturdy and strong tower. It's also very easy to fold down, and I can fold it down. Even with all of these accessories attached, I can fold this tower down by myself because the contraption that's built into these bases takes all of the weight off the tower. So when I unlock those cam latches, I actually have to pull the tower down. And that makes it really, really easy if you're storing a boat. Anytime there's a headroom clearance issue, you've got the ability to collapse this tower very quickly, very efficiently, and safely. The other ultimate thing that I want to talk about with this tower is just the amount of stuff you can put on it. So you've got the option of Bombshell 1.0 racks, which store surfboards that are as much as 23 inches wide. So you've got a really wide board that you can put in these racks and keep them safe. They're in there all cushioned and safe out of the way. You've also got an optional bimini. This is the Roswell bimini that's on the tower currently. This bimini folds out and extends all the way from this back hoop all the way to the windshield, so it covers the bulk of the lounge of this boat with shade. It also has surf pockets built into the top of it, so you've got more storage for your surfboards. The optional stereo system is kind of the elephant on the tower or in the room because you can't miss them. These are Wet Sounds horns that, as you can see, are not small, and that is exactly what kind of sound they produce. Big sound. And they are also beautiful to look at, but they create some amazing tunes that get all the way back there to your rider, even if you've got a long line wakeboarder in tow. So the accessories that are available on this tower just complement the main function and the strength of it as it is, and it also looks really cool. So new for this year in Supreme S240, you'll find a couple things standard that we haven't had in years past, and they're both located in this glove box. So what we've got here is a battery isolator switch, and it's really a control center. It's different than the switches we've had in the past. You know, a Supreme boat comes standard with 2 batteries, which is also very rare, but you've got now control of it in the glove box. In the past, you've had to kind of weed yourself through the observer storage area to get to that isolator switch. Now you've got easy access to it. Turn it on, turn it off. You can give power to accessories, not the engine not accessories, or both at the same time. You also have access to PDMs to understand if they've been tripped or if they're not working properly. And that's a really cool thing to have access to right here all together so that you're not searching through the boat to find out where these areas are in case you're trying to troubleshoot a problem, which can happen. But you've also got a new standard Wet Sounds stereo system that's mounted, at least the face of it, the original control is in the glove box here. It is a black box unit, so the base is underneath in the storage area, kind of out of the way, but the controls for it are really easily accessible here in the glove box. You also have the option of some controls, remote controls at the driver and on the back of the boat, and I'll show you that a little bit later. But you've also got another couple cool things in here that you might not know about that's standard this year for Supreme, one of which is a USB-C powered connector. So you can actually plug in a USB-C cord and power your phone, your iPad, a camera, or any other device that might need charging but has a USB-C type connector on it. That same charging port has a regular USB connection as well. So you got the best of both worlds, and it makes it more easily accessible. And honestly, it gives you every opportunity to charge your stuff, even if you forgot to do it at home. So now we're at the driver's seat and the driver's dash. This is one of the areas of the boat that honestly I'm in the most. I tend to drive in my family, and I'm probably the most particular about this area of the boat. Why? Because it seems to be where I am most times. But I always want to be able to make sure that I can see well. I have great visibility in front of the boat, on the water, and great visibility of all the controls that I need, especially those controls that I need quickly. One of those elements that I always seem to need quickly is my trim tab, my wake plate, or on this particular boat, it is a Silent Stinger wake plate. So I want to be able to move that wake plate up and down to adjust my rider's wake or wave shape and not have to take my eyes off the water to do it. And that's the great thing about this bump switch is I can bump it up and that actually stows or puts the plate to 0. I can bump it down and that adjusts the plate down. And so what that gives me is plate down will give me lift at the back of the boat and it'll level the boat out so my bow will come down. To me, I love where it's located because I just have to take a couple fingers off, bump it up or down to change the position. I can see where it's positioned on my screen at a glance, and it's as easy as that. I also have really easy control over a whole menu of items, from surf settings as far as my QuickSurf plates are concerned, ballast settings, and I can also access my rider profiles, my stereo, volume control, you name it, and it's very easily accessible, all from this touch screen. I also have an optional phone charger, and this is a clamping wireless phone charger. And what this allows my phone to do, if it's capable, is to charge through the back, and it's really easy to take in and out of the holder with one hand. That's another frustrating thing. I need to have a hand on the wheel, and if I'm messing with my phone and I have to have 2 hands to do it, it's a problem. So I want to be able to take this phone and easily put it in that clip and not have to worry about it again and still be able to see everything I need to see from there. I also have an optional stereo remote here at my right hand between the throttle and the dash. This is also really, really convenient. So if any of you have ever come back around to pick up a rider and you were cranking their favorite tune, but oops, they fell, we're going to go back around to get them. I've got this wonderful windshield that allows me to stay seated and still talk to my fallen rider, but I need to be able to turn the stereo down quickly to do that. So this knob allows me to do that quickly, talk to my rider, make sure everything's okay, and up, we're going again. And it's as simple as that, and then I can crank the tunes just as easily. So the observer seat is one of those areas in the boat that, in my opinion, always gets overlooked. And why? It's a huge, comfortable seat. It's got amazing storage behind the lean back. It's easily accessible. But one of my favorite things about this storage area this year is how much space I've got. I don't have to worry about keeping all of my gear to one side so I can access a battery switch, because the battery switch isn't in there anymore. It's in the glove box. And I still have a great place for my batteries. If I need to access them directly, they're right there, but they're out of the way, and I can jam this full of all my gear and only have to worry about having to dig out my gear. Okay, now finally, we're going to my favorite place in the boat. And I know I say that about everything, but really, this is my favorite place. One of the reasons it's my favorite place is because in most other boats, it's not the favorite place to be. It seems like it might be, but when you get out there on the water, in most other boats, it's really rough, it's uncomfortable, but this particular bow and this Supreme S240 is a smooth ride no matter what. I mean, it's comfortable right now, I'm not on the water, but it's comfortable because I've got the filler cushion in, which is optional, and I can have access to cup holders, I've got my speakers, my tunes, I've got power outlets up here, I've got grab handles in case the driver gets crazy, and I can hold on. But I've got a lot of comfort built into this bow, but none of it matters if the ride isn't smooth when I'm on the water, because then nobody's going to be up here. But in a Supreme, it is, and that's thanks to the Easy V and that 20 degrees of dead rise and the way that this thing planes across the water. It eats up chop no matter what. So you can sit up here, even in the bow, going over your own rollers, even if the driver has a surfer in tow, and you will be smooth sailing. Thanks for spending time with me in the all-new 2024 Supreme S240. This 24-foot boat, I think, has proven to you that it's worth a look. So drop by your local Supreme Boats dealer and check out the Supreme S240. I know we'll be able to prove to you that this will make your life better.